Welcome to Dedicated Dentist, where we probe dentistry 32 reasons why. So this is a quick revision video. We'll be discussing the gingival inflammation. So we know the basic steps in inflammation. So let's proceed with the stage 1, that is initial lesion. So this starts within 2 to 4 days of plaque accumulation. We know there is the defense cells, the neutrophils are the first line of defense whenever there is inflammation. So they reach the site of bacterial attack, and there are vasoactive mediators, inflammatory mediators being released, so that there is vasodilation and increased permeability of the blood vessels. So the plasma proteins and all the exudate, they come out, and from here the blood vessels of connective tissue, they reach the gingival crivaclear fluid. So now there is vasodilation and increased blood flow. So clinically there is no sign in this stage. Okay, so that is also called as subclinical gingivitis. That is, there are no signs like no bleeding on probing or erythema. So now what happens is these lymphocytes, they get marginated along the blood vessels, line the blood vessels, or they may come out of it, that we call diapetasis, and reach the connective tissue through chemotaxis. And sometimes they also enter the junctional epithelia in the later stages. So it is in the chronic stages that the lymphocytes and plasma cells predominate. So this is the stage 2, or also called as early lesion. This occurs after 1 week of initial lesion. So you can see there is this accumulation of lymphocytes, plasma cells, and mast cell and macrophages. So these cells, they predominate here. Now on clinically we can see there is erythema and bleeding on probing, and microscopically there is dense inflammation of this lymphocytes and plasma cells. So they release this growth factors which promote angiogenesis, that is formation of blood vessels. Also there is this proliferation of blood vessels between the rete ridges. Now here the 70% collagen is destroyed. Now in the process of destroying the bacteria, the adjacent tissues and collagens are also destroyed. There is collagenase being released by neutrophils, and that is increased. Collagenase is increased, and hence there is destruction of collagen, majority of which is circular or dentogingival fibers. Also this infiltration of this cells takes place in the junctional epithelium. Along with the infiltration of the lymphocytes in the junctional epithelium, this is important, there is also formation of retipecs or rete ridges in the junctional epithelium. Now the leukocytes that have taken the bacteria inside to destroy them, they release enzyme intracellularly and extracellularly, because of which they destroy the adjacent tissue and collagen. Now comes the stage 3, that is established lesion that evolves. This predominance of B lymphocytes and plasma cell, the inflammation persists, and blood vessels, they become engorged. So venous return here is impaired, which is why there is bluish hue on the retin gingiva, and blood flow here is slow or sluggish. Then there is extravasation of erythrocytes and connective tissue. There is breakdown of hemoglobin, because of which also the color deepens in this stage. Now this is very important, that there is predominance of plasma cells in the established lesion. The clinical features in the established lesion are that the gingiva is edematous or boggy, there is exudate oozing out, and gingiva bleeds spontaneously. Now comes the last stage 4, advanced lesion. Now there is extension of lesion into the bone, that we call stage 4, or also called as phase of periodontal breakdown. So if this worsens or progresses further, so that will lead to attachment loss, and microscopically there is fibrous, dense tissue in the gingiva. Well, I hope that helps in your revision. Thank you for listening patiently.